Hey guys! I just got back from work and I haven't even changed, but I'm still in work mode, so I thought I'd make a video that I've been thinking about over the past few days. For those of you who are not aware, if you're not friends with my public Facebook account, I got my dream job about 2.5 weeks ago, and it's been amazing. I'm working in a public library down here with youth programming and various other duties. So it's been amazing. And during my training, we went over a lot of the services that the public library offers its patrons. And though I realized that every area's library has different resources that they make available to their patrons, it kind of led me to hatch this idea. There are so many videos about how to be a frugal pagan or a practical pagan, and a lot of people don't focus as much about what the library can offer these people who don't want to spend as much money on their practice. I can hear a lot of you saying, but Ashlyn, my library has crap. And that might be true, but that doesn't mean that the library offers nothing to you to help you with your pursuit of spirituality. I remember when I started studying, I went to one of the larger libraries in my area, and I looked around for all the pagan books, and I found two. I checked them both out, and they were crap. Even in my fluffy teenage phase, I knew that they were crap. So that should really tell you something, because at this point I'm like, Silver Ravenwolf is awesome and she knows all. A lot of public libraries don't offer pagan books, and it's not necessarily for the reasons that people assume, that, you know, the people running the library really don't want us to offer those books to their patrons, or that the other patrons really raise a big stink about it and have them taken off the shelves. I think it's typically because people steal them. This happens a lot with libraries. It might be, you know, the pagans out there who manage to check out the book but then get that fear of bringing it back and getting judged somehow by the people checking the book back in. And we're going to talk about that later. Or it's, you know, the people who do believe that these books shouldn't be offered and they take them and don't return them so that no one else can have that information. So as pagans, we need to make a conscious effort that if and when these materials are available to us in our local libraries, we need to do our best to be good patrons and return them. You can also get on your library's website or go in, and there are forms that you can fill out for books that you would like them to offer. And these forms will get where they need to go for the circulation and the collections departments. They may not automatically offer the book to the patrons, though. There's a lengthy process that is involved, and it's not, again, always because they say, hey, we don't want to stock this book because it's devil worship or whatever. It's often because they look at it and they say, how many people are really going to be interested in this book? They stock the popular books first, the things that they know people are going to want to check out, because there's a limited amount of room in the library, obviously. So if you're interested in seeing pagan books, go to your library and fill out those cards. The more cards they get about pagan works, the more likely they are to put them on the shelves for you. If all else fails, even if there aren't books by Cunningham and Buckland and all the other New Age pagan-y authors, there's still stuff for you to check out, as I've discussed extensively in my blog posts on Through the Leaves and in my videos. Pagan authors are not your only source of material. You can go to archaeology and history and works about the ancient cultures and studies of anthropology and things like that to inform your spiritual life. All of the libraries in the world should have some collection of mythology, be it limited or not. There are children's books on mythology in my itty-bitty little library that I'm working at right now. There are adult books on mythology of various cultures, not just Greek and Roman and Egyptian. There's Celtic, there's Norse, I've checked this out. There's all sorts of other cultures that obviously pagans would be interested in. If that fails too and you can't find your books either in print at your library or through their ebook database, because libraries are lending ebooks now if you have an e-reader or a tablet, your next option is to go through an interlibrary loan. A lot of people don't do this. I don't know if it's that they're afraid that they have to go get someone to fill it out, which you don't. You can fill out the interlibrary loan form yourself, often on your library's website, or what, but you fill out the form, you put your title and your author and whatever else and whatever other information it requires of you, and you put your library card number in, and they'll call you when it comes in. Libraries somewhere in the country have these books for you to borrow. Even Cunningham and the more prominent of the pagan authors. Now, if you type in some random author that you just found and who has written one book in the past 3 years on paganism, you're probably not going to luck out even with interlibrary loan. But if you're looking for something, you know, that's fairly mainstream for paganism, go try it. The worst that can happen is that they can't find it, which is fairly rare. So yeah, a lot of this does involve going to your library and being fairly out with the people working in the library, but there are privacy laws. They can't go home and be like, oh, guess what, so-and-so checked out. We're not going to talk to her because she's a Satanist or whatever. They can't do that, and even if they could, most people who work in a library are interested in learning. They may think that what you're learning about is weird, but they're not going to be all scary, and they're not going to treat you poorly because of it. So just let go of that fear. In addition to books, the library has so many other resources that you can use in your pursuit of spirituality. My favorite that I just found out about, and your library might not offer this, but a lot of them are starting to, is a free MP3 service. Every week, you have a certain number of digital downloads that you can use that are free, and it resets every Monday. And we use a website called Freegal. It'll only work if you have a participating library in your card and your PIN number. But yeah, the collection of, you know, music to groove out to at home or in the car is not amazing. It's free, so by nature, it's not going to have the hottest artists and the best songs ever, but the collection of guided meditations and meditation music is fairly excellent and free. So that's something to think about. A lot of libraries are also starting to offer language services. We used to offer Rosetta Stone, now we're working with a company called Mango, and if you have a card for a participating library, which you can find out by going to your library's website and looking through all their resources, you can get on these websites and learn your language of choice for free. And some of the languages that they offer are not really the ones that you would automatically assume. So let's say you're working with the Greco-Roman pantheon and you want to learn Latin or Greek. Chances are you probably can. And yes, I realize that there are differences in the ancient languages and the ones that you're going to learn on those courses, but it's closer than you're going to get for free, unless you have a teacher in that tradition. My library happened to offer Irish, and I'm working my way through those lessons, so that was awesome. Because the Rosetta Stone software for learning Irish is, like, insanely expensive. There's also genealogy information and software and programs through your library that you might be interested in, especially if you're looking into your own culture, into your own family history, to trace it back to see if you have certain bloodlines in your history or certain cultures. So that might be something that you incorporate into your spirituality too. In addition to all these resources, there are also the programs that every library offers. Now, they're not going to offer, you know, Wicca 101 classes most of the time. Sometimes they might, but it's kind of probably going to be really rare. But they might offer other programs that pagans will generally be interested in. I know my library is offering a natural cleaning workshop next week, and I know that we're offering a bunch of crafts that pagans might be interested in, like candle making and things like that. So look at your library's program of events. You might find a lot that you'd want to go to just because it's kind of cool and pagan-esque. And then there's the one that everyone tends to focus on, and that's meeting rooms. If you have a group, the library almost always offers meeting rooms. There are a few libraries, from my experience in Cincinnati, that will not allow religious groups of any nature to use their meeting rooms, whether it's for worship or any other sort of discussion or education program that's religious in nature. Some libraries will and some won't. A lot of them just say you can't have a worship service in the library. But if you're having some sort of pagan discussion group or a pagan book group or a study circle, if you're not practicing, then you should be good. And a lot of them are free, and there are obviously limits that every library imposes on their meeting rooms. You might not be able to bring your athame or your incense or whatever else. You might not be able to drum, obviously, in the library or things like that. But as long as you obey the rules, it's there for you to use. And did I mention it's free? And libraries are generally located on bus routes and within walking distance to other locations and easily accessible. And they have parking and all sorts of other things that you look for in a good group meeting place. So I think that was basically everything I wanted to cover. But really, just don't overlook your library, because libraries are kick-ass, and a lot of pagans focus too much on buying all their books online and then crying about how they spend all this money, and a lot of their books are crap. So yeah, I guess I'll wrap this up by saying, don't forget that having fun isn't hard when you've got a library card. Wow, this job is making me such a geek, and I love it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.